Hey guys, so we're moving on to the next set of notes for Unit 1, and it's on absolute value. So absolute value is the distance between a number and 0. So it's just how far it is from 0 on a number line. So you'll notice in the example pictured here that they have the absolute value of -3 is 3 because -3 is just 3 units from 0. The absolute value of 0 is just 0. And the absolute value of 5 is 5 because it's 5 units from 0. So think of it as the distance from 0. So in the first example, it says use the number lines to find the absolute value. So in the first example, it says, what's the value of A? Well, A is 1 unit over from 10 to the right of 10. So the value of A is 11. So then it says, how far is A from 0? Well, if I look at this a little closely, I have zeros right here and 11 is right there. It's 11 units from 0. So therefore, the absolute value of 11 is 11. Okay? In the next example, we have what is the value of A in this next example? Well, A is 1, 2, 3, 4 notches to the left of 0, so it's at -4. Okay? And then how far is it from 0? It's only 4 units over, so that means the absolute value of -4 is 4. It's always the distance from 0. Okay? In the next set of the notes, it's just asking you to find the absolute value for each expression. Okay? So the absolute value of 7 is 7 because it's 7 units from 0. The absolute value of -10 is 10 because it's 10 units from 0. The absolute value of 0 is 0, okay, because it doesn't move. In this next part, you're going to have to do an operation within the absolute value first before you end up solving this. So you're always doing what's inside the absolute value first, okay? So in the first example, I have 11 minus 12. Well, I'm going to write down the absolute value of -5 still, and I'm going to put a minus sign, and I'm still going to keep the absolute value, and 11 minus 12 is -1. So I'm going to write in the absolute value of -1. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve the absolute values. Okay, so first step is to solve what's inside one of the absolute values. That requires you to do an operation, and then you want to solve using absolute value. So the absolute value of -5 is 5, because it's 5 units from 0, minus sign in between, and the absolute value of -1 is 1. So our final answer is 5 minus 1, which is 4. All right, in the next example, notice that in this first absolute value set, we're going to have to actually solve something. We're going to do 13 minus 14, which again is -1 according to our integer rules. So I'm going to write the absolute value of -1 minus the absolute value of 11. And then I'm going to do the absolute value part of this. So the absolute value of -1 is 1, because that's the distance from 0, and the absolute value of 11 is 11. So I have 1 minus 11 as my final answer, and according to integer rules, I'm going to subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number, and my answer there would be -10. And in the next couple examples, if we look at the next couple of examples here, we notice that there is actually nothing to do inside the absolute value for this one. So, but we're still going to do that part first, and we're just going to do the absolute value part first. So it's like there's nothing to do inside, so it's like we're just solving the absolute value. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to write 47 plus the absolute value of -72 is 72 minus 69. And then all I'm going to do is add from left to right. So 47 plus 72 minus 69 is 50. So my final answer here is 50. Same thing with the next one. In the next example, we do have to solve something inside that absolute value. So you have -21 minus 10. So I have the absolute value of 56 minus -21 minus 10. Same signs, add and keep the sign. So it becomes -31 and minus 8 on the outside here. Next, I'm going to solve the absolute values. So if I solve the absolute values next, I have the absolute value of 56 is 56 minus the absolute value of -31 is 31 minus 8. And then I'm just going to subtract from left to right. So you have 56 minus 31 minus 8. which is 17. And that's absolute value. So try the practice in ALEX, and as always, let me know if you have any questions. Good luck.